This is on the line today with the decision in the hands of Georgia voters. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Tapping our first 7 minutes. It's runoff day in Georgia with control of the Senate hanging in the balance. GOP Senator David Perdue is facing Jon Ossoff, while fellow Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler is up against Reverend Raphael Warnock. With the stakes so high, both President Trump and President-elect Joe Biden campaigned in Georgia on Monday. The races are considered tight, and it could be days before all the votes are counted. Well, time is running out for President Trump's bid to overturn November's election results. Congress meets tomorrow to certify each state's electoral college results. More than 100 House members and at least 13 senators plan to object to the vote. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
They're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
President Trump is calling on a key ally to challenge the election results when Congress meets tomorrow to certify President-elect Joe Biden's victory.
I hope that our great vice president comes through for us. He's a great guy. Of course, if he doesn't come through, I won't like him quite as much.
13 Republican senators have promised to come through for the president in challenging the results.
I will object to the Electoral College vote.
The president's fight against the election has caused a rift within the Republican Party between those who accept the results and those backing the president's effort.
People will remember the people that don't support us.
Last month, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell privately urged his colleagues not to contest the Electoral College vote. Republicans supporting certification say there's no evidence of fraud to overturn the results. Among them, West Virginia's Shelley Moore Capito, who warned refusing to count a state's electoral votes in the absence of such evidence would disenfranchise millions of American voters.
I don't want to have our votes overturned by other members of Congress from other places. I don't see in the Constitution where we even actually have that authority, quite honestly, and I read it again this morning.
Thousands of President Trump supporters plan to protest outside of the Capitol during Wednesday's proceedings. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Kansas Senator Roger Marshall, along with Kansas Representatives Ron Estes, Jake LaTurner, and Tracy Mann, all say they intend to object. Some businesses in Washington, D.C. have already boarded up in anticipation that there could be some violence associated with the protests. Well, we're getting a break from the cold weather today. Michael Hayslip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Today we are.
Yeah,
You and I talked this morning how that's going to change, and the taste of January is going to be upon us here by the weekend. So take every advantage that you can and get out and enjoy 51 degrees at the noon hour from the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. But I want to point out that fourth column right there. The barometer is falling. For the past 2 days, we've had it on the rise. Very dry as well. Humidity down to 48%. But you can't beat this as we sit right now with a whole bunch of high 40s and low 50s on the thermometer. The Skywatch Storm Tracker showing a little cloud cover building in, and we'll talk about this in just a little bit because that is the result of the low pressure system that's sweeping in off the Pacific Northwest. But it's not going to affect us for today. It's actually not going to arrive until tomorrow morning. And when it does, the nice thing about Wednesday is it's going to stay as rain, not only for the early morning commute, but all the way through the afternoon as well. Our accumulation numbers not going to be anything severe, but Tanya, the big thing is what happens when we turn the clock into Thursday. Look at it flipping over. We see the pink, we see the blue. That's going to be freezing rain and eventually a little snow. So what we're looking at here is our cooler temperatures into the weekend, including overnight lows that are going to consistently drop below the 20s. When I see you in just a bit, we'll talk about what's sweeping off the Pacific Northwest, how it's going to combo with some Gulf moisture and actually present us with number one, the rain, then the snow, and then the colder temperatures for the middle of January.
I was thinking some kids went back to school today, some kids go back to school on Thursday. Ooh.
That's why I waited to bust out the bus stop forecast until this morning, because I know it's kind of a split schedule and whatnot. I figured today was a good day to start. But yeah, beginning tomorrow, that's when we start talking about umbrellas and heavy coats.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the chairman of the Missouri Veterans Commission resigns following an external investigation into the cause of a prolonged COVID-19 outbreak in Missouri veterans' homes. The investigation uncovered at the state level the MVC failed to recognize the outbreak, failed to plan for an extensive outbreak, and failed to respond to the outbreak. Locally, at the Mount Vernon home, the report noted the home had instituted many positive practices and that at the time of the report, the outbreak was contained to the isolation unit. The MVC sent a statement saying it had already started taking corrective actions. Neosho County, Kansas becomes the latest county in the 4 states to implement a mask mandate. The commission voted to opt into the governor's mandate last Wednesday, with the mandate taking effect immediately. The measure will require face coverings in public places with exemptions for children under the age of 5 and people with medical conditions that prevent them from wearing face coverings. Communities are rallying to help find a new place of worship for the Knoll, Missouri Islamic community. On December 28th, a fire destroyed the Knoll Mosque, a central meeting place for the area's Muslim community. The fire also damaged the adjoining African grocery store. Since then, the Joplin Islamic Society and the Bentonville Islamic Center in Arkansas both started raising funds to help the community. In just a week, donations climbed to $82,000. The immediate plan is to find a space in Knoll the community can rent until a full mosque can be rebuilt. That's a look at our top news and weather in our first 7 minutes. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, a dry resolution.
Starting new year with a new challenge, a month without any alcohol. I'm Nancy Chen with how dry January is taking on special meaning during the pandemic.
Plus, we're making easy English muffins in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. The start of a new year brings new resolutions for many of us, and each year more people are choosing to go alcohol-free for a month. Nancy Chen shows us how this year's Dry January Challenge comes as alcohol use has increased during the pandemic.
After welcoming a new year, many people are now saying goodbye to alcohol for the Dry January Challenge. That includes Douglas Waters, who has a good reason. The Manhattan business owner just opened the alcohol-free bottle shop Spirited Away in November.
I had increased my drinking, and a lot of people had. In response to that, I wanted to create a place for people who wanted to maybe rein that in a little bit and say, you know, I actually don't want to be drinking as much as I am.
Drinks like these are helping more people than ever stick to their pledge for a dry January.
This year's Dry January Challenge comes as alcohol use has surged during the pandemic. People are feeling more stress, and many are having a drink to mark the end of the workday at home.
Research from the RAND Corporation released this fall found Americans were drinking 14% more in 2020 compared to the previous year. And heavy drinking among women, for this study considered 4 or more drinks within 2 hours, rose 41%.
So working from home has its obstacles on its own, but certainly when the bar is at home, there is less of an obstacle to find a drink.
Hillary Scheinbaum is the author of the Dry Challenge and says Dry January can be for anyone.
There are so many benefits involved with doing a dry January, including clearer skin, better sleep, better digestion, and just an elevated mood since alcohol is a depressant.
A path to a healthier new year and a different kind of buzz. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Scheinbaum recommends finding a friend to complete the challenge with, as well as making alcohol less visible at home. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you want to be free, gluten-free that is, then stick around because we've got a tasty idea that you would never expect.
But first, Michael Hayslip joins us with your complete forecast when we return.
I want to start with a quick weather almanac for our first week of January because look at that average high. We've already cruised past that. We've seen a high of 51 degrees already at Joplin Regional Airport. We're not going to quite get to that 2008 record of 71. But another key factor here, obviously your month and your year are going to be the same the first month, but we're going to see that increase probably to about 2 inches here by the time we get to the weekend. So let's go ahead and break this down from a fundamental standpoint as we look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Clear skies, no cloud cover, no precipitation. I know it looks kind of weird, but that's why I went ahead and put the sweeping radars on just so you could tell that is actually a live update. When we look at the Freeman Health System sky camera, just an absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon. Now here's the key factor that I want to talk about today. It's going to be our barometer and the fact that our pressure continues to fall. Earlier this morning, it was still just on the rise. We had humidity sitting at 96%. That's why we had a little bit of that patchy fog, but we are, number one, beginning to dry out as the low pressure system moves in. But at the same point in time, I know this sounds like a little bit of an anomaly, but we have a whole bunch of Gulf moisture that's beginning to move up from the south. Nice thing is our wind hasn't really made a big difference between our temperature and our wind chill. It's absolutely delightful when you step outside for this time of year. A whole bunch of high 40s, even some low 50s, and eventually we'll be up into the mid 50s. We saw these wind arrows just absolutely go clockwise on us and come in from the south right now. And the nice thing is that gives us just a little bit of southwest warmth, but we don't have to deal with the 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, the 30 mile an hour winds that oftentimes we'll see when we get one of those warm fronts. But another thing that's going to happen is as this system moves in from the northwest, we're going to see them flip back around and then come in from the north by the end of the work week. So really what we're going to concentrate on is this low pressure system that's right under the trough of the jet stream right there. And what it's going to do is as it sinks down, almost follow it right through us. And like I said, it's going to combo and hook up with a little Gulf moisture. Now they had quite a winter storm up in the Pacific Northwest, as much as 9 inches in some places. We're not going to see anything close to that. Don't want you to worry about that, those kinds of amounts. But slowly but surely, this thing's staying pretty organized over the Rocky Mountains, and that's indicated by the darker colors right there. And earlier this morning, we had that big high pressure system, but like I said, our barometer beginning to fall, and that's because the low pressure is forcing everything off to the east. See, light blue, as we put it, about a 6-hour time gap right there. It's not even going to be sustainable on the other side of the Mississippi. Now, don't worry about our Tuesday. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous this afternoon. Still plenty of sunshine, highs in the mid 50s. But then as we get into Wednesday night, that's when we see the development of the cloud cover, and we'll start with rain. And that's a good thing because tomorrow morning our temperatures are going to stay above freezing. So when that rain does develop out of the west-southwest right there, really no worries about our morning commute. We see it expand north-south, but still, that's not bad. We can keep it as rain, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of rain through Wednesday all the way to the afternoon. Here's the key factor. Here's what I want everybody to eyeball. It's going to be Thursday morning because we're going to see the flip over. Yeah, not freezing cold temperatures, but enough to give us a rain-snow mix. And I'm more concerned about the freezing rain, of course, that we've seen, not as widespread as what we had last week, but hanging around exactly in time for Thursday morning. Now, a national perspective is going to give you an idea of how that Gulf moisture hooks up right there. Now, after we're done with Thursday, and I just want everybody to be apprised of the situation 48 hours beforehand, take it slow, and then just lock in for a cold weekend as our temperatures are in the 40s, but perhaps more importantly, Tanya, overnight lows dropping down into the mid-20s.
All right. Enjoy it while it lasts today because it's about to get really cold.
That's right. Yeah. And like I said, don't worry about tomorrow morning, though, either. We'll keep it as rain. It's really Thursday morning I want everybody to pay attention to.
All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Staff Sergeant Armande Belts in the U.S. Army. Fort Scott native joined Company C, 114th Infantry, 44th Division in 1943. Belts earned 3 battle stars while fighting in Germany, France, and Italy until 1945. He also received the Silver Star. To Staff Sergeant Armande Belts, we thank you, our four-state hero. Today's recipe pairs perfect with your morning coffee. Howard shows us how to make easy English muffins in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Wherever we look, someone is touting a new gluten-free product. You know, if you think about it, 10 years ago, we hardly knew what gluten was, never mind trying to avoid it. Today, restaurants and manufacturers are rushing to tweak recipes and adjust labels to make sure they don't miss out on this multi-billion-dollar gluten-free market. But rather than running to the store to get some off-the-shelf product, what if I told you that you can make freshly baked English muffins right in your microwave that are gluten-free, very low in carbs, and are downright tasty? All we do is mix some almond flour, which is very popular right now, with a bit of gluten-free baking powder. Once combined, we add in some canned pumpkin, a splash of milk, an egg, and a little cinnamon. After this is smooth, we spoon it into a shallow microwavable soup bowl and pop it in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes or until the center is set. That's all there is to it. When it cools, we have single-serve freshly baked treats that are full of flavor, not gluten. Now we can serve this up in place of our old standby hamburger bun without all the guilt, or toast it and it's just as welcome with a rise and shine breakfast. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for what we call Easy English Muffin, which is low in carbs and gluten-free. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a healthier way for many of you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this tasty dish along with a link to other Mr. Food recipes on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
A beautiful Tuesday afternoon with temperatures in the 50s, and overnight the key factor is we're able to avoid freezing, because remember, by the time we get to tomorrow morning's drive, we have the emergence of rain. Now over to Dow for a look at what's coming up tonight on the KOAM News at 5.
Yeah, tonight at 5, Britain's Prime Minister has ordered a new nationwide lockdown. It's an effort to try to contain a new variant of the coronavirus, which may be up to 70% more infectious. Why scientists say this new variant of the virus is less concerning than another strain of COVID that's been detected in South Africa. Plus, some people are finding their stimulus checks deposited into an account that is not theirs. We'll tell you why and what you need to know. And village officials at Airport Drive are upset with the Jasper County Commission after their request for CARES funds is denied. We're going to hear why. Hope you join us at 5.
All right, thanks for joining us for the KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.